Hey guys, welcome back. This is Attorney Jack from CruiseCasinoMafia.com. If you are not a subscriber of the channel, we've been doing so many amazing videos lately, introducing new systems for roulette, baccarat, craps, and more importantly, new money management to kind of open your eyes to show you that the power is in the way you manipulate your money. That's what you should be focused on. So if you haven't seen the video that was put up, I guess it was yesterday, the last video, I introduced a very unique Baccarat bet selection. So you may want to watch that before this, because we're going to use the bet selection to showcase something else, a new money management concept. Now, total disclosure, I was actually going to show you guys today a more aggressive money management, something really interesting that I saw and that was introduced to me. But something else came up, and I'm going to try something else today. I'm going to save the money, that concept, for another day, and I think I'm going to do it with roulette instead of baccarat. So today I'm going to show you another way of being ultra conservative and making money. So you may say to yourself, well, if you're ultra conservative, how do you make money? Well, it's really simple. For people that are private members of Cruise Casino Mafia, you guys already know that what we preach is very simple. Whatever your bankroll starting point is, you can always build from there, right? It's the same as in trading, as in anything else. Don't overdo it. Let your winnings build up and gradually move up to a higher base bet. So if you're starting with a $5 base bet and your simulations have indicated, let's say that you need $1,000 for argument's sake. Well, obviously to go to a $10 base, you would need double that. So you can slowly move yourself up methodically to a much higher base bet level. So, and the beauty of doing it that way is you're playing on the casino's money, which is always much smarter. But the other reason is you do not have to play for hours and hours to make a reasonable amount of money. So get comfortable with the fact that at some point you're going to want to strictly look for 4, 6, 7 units, and that's it. Once you have your base bet up to $50 or $100, $400, $500, $600 a session is more than enough. Okay, so I'm going to show you a new bet progression. Let's call it that today, a bet concept. So yesterday we showed you a bet selection method that was very, very unique. And today we're going to combine that with a new bet selection. So let's talk about this for a minute. So this is a 3-part bet selection. So there's nothing unique about that, right? There's many different ways to limit our amount of progressions. We can flat bet, right? And we can do a 1, 1, and 1, right? And it just takes more time and more patience. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see it, right? So we can flat bet, which means it doesn't matter whether we win or lose. We're going to be betting the same amount of money, the same base unit, right? But we can also do something like this, right? We can inch it up just a little bit, and we can do something like a 1, 2, 3, right? We can do something similar to this, all right? No big deal, right? So now you're providing a slight bit of a progression, but again, it's still not out of control. It's still not a crazy martingale, because what you're doing here is you're making 1 unit, right? And then when you get to your third bet, if you get to that third bet, you're simply trying to break even and get back to 0. So you're not making any money if you lose the first 2 and then you win the third. And that's pretty conservative, just like the flat betting here, right? Then you can do something like this and be a little bit more aggressive. You can do a 1, 2, and a 4. All right, this is simple math. Nobody created this. Nobody invented this. There's nothing crazy about this. But I want you guys to have something to compare it to. Some people may say they want to be a little bit more aggressive, and maybe they'll do a 1, 3, 5. All right, so you need a little bit bigger bankroll for this. And the difference here is very simple, right? This takes 7 units if you lose all of them. This is a 6 units. This is 3 units. This one is 9 units, right? If you bust out and you lose the 3 in a row, you're losing 9 units. Well, let me show you something else that's pretty interesting. So what we're going to try to do today also uses a 3-bet scenario, but it's very different, all right? So to do this, you have to bet more than the table minimum, okay? So let's just, for argument's sake, let's just say, let's use our units instead of dollars, and then we'll translate it. So the first bet is a 2-unit bet. And if we win the 2-unit bet, we're going to actually stay with the same base level bet, the 2-unit bet, for 2 more bets, okay? Because it's a 3-part system, right? It's a 3-part system. So this first bet is going to trigger what happens for the other 2. So in this situation, the first bet was 1. We're going to continue for the next 2 bets to bet the same amount of money, right? The same amount of money, okay? But if the 2 bet was lost, we're going to bet half for the next 2 bets. So do you see how that's working? You see how that's triggered, okay? And that's how that works. And it doesn't matter what happens here. We're going to bet the 2 units. We're going to bet for the 2 units here. If the first bet was 1, we're going to continue to bet 2 units. If the 2 bet was lost, we're going to drop it to half the amount of the first bet. So you say, well, what happens after that? It's really simple. We restart after the 3rd bet. So once again, we're at that 2 units. And depending on what happens, we're either going to be betting this way for the next 2 units, or we're going to drop to a half bet. This is a long-term scenario, okay? So you have to understand that it is a grinding scenario, but it's a very interesting way of playing. I've done some tests with this because I have not played like this before. This is a very unique 3-bet system, and it's been fascinating to see how it works. Now, you have to have the mindset that you have a target in mind. This is not an ongoing thing and you're just playing forever. So my target is that 4 to 5 units, right? Because I want to play with a bigger unit. And when you only are doing this and your biggest bet is only going to be 2 units, you can play with bigger base bets, right? You still need the bankroll, don't get me wrong, but you can play with bigger base bets. So let's give this a shot. Okay, let's give this a shot. And so we don't screw up, or I don't screw up, I'm going to keep track of where we're at. All right, so we're going to use the bet selection from yesterday. So first, let's go ahead and deal the first hand, because we're not going to bet on the first hand of a shoe. Okay, here we go. So with this bet selection that I did yesterday, we're looking at the scoreboard as rows. And the rows are actually determining what we're going to do for the bet selection. It's very simple once you understand it. So row 1, when the last result was a row 1, you're always going to bet for the chop. Real simple. So if it's here, you're going to bet for the chop. So we're going to be betting on banker, right? Very simple. We're betting for the chop. So let's go ahead and bet for banker. We'll use $100 units so that it's easy to do the half units at 50. All right. So we're going to bet on, whoops, that's not $100. Here's $100. Okay. We're betting $100 on banker, right? And we win. All right. So let's turn this into money so you know exactly, it's easier for me to keep track. So now, because that first bet was a $100 winner, I already know the next 2 bets are going to be at the same level of 100. All right. So where are we at here? We won. We're still on the first row, so we're going to bet for the chop. And that means we're going to bet the same amount, and we're going to bet for player. Right? Now we're switching to player. And we won. Okay? So I'm just going to write it down here so that I can keep track. And it's not about the money. I'm keeping track so I don't forget which bet we're on. All right, so once again, we're still on row 1, so now we're flopping over to the banker. So now we're going to bet our third and final bet on banker. Let's see if we can win all 3. And we did. Okay, so we are now up 3 units. Okay, we're now up 3 units. So now we're on our second tier, our second shot. We're back at our bet 1. Because remember, it's always 3-bet cycle. It's a 3-bet cycle. So the next one we're going to do, we'll put it over here. And the next 3-bet cycle, we start over again, which is our $100 bet, our full bet. And we are still on level 1, so we're going to bet for a player this time. So we're going to bet for a player at $100. And we won. So once again, that is telling us that the next 2 bets are going to be for the same amount. Okay, and you'll see how this plays out, which, by the way, we're already up 4 units. So if I sat at the table or was at Stadium Baccarat and I immediately made 4 units at this level, I'd be done, just so you know. But we will, of course, continue the demonstration so you guys understand what we're doing. So now we're betting the same thing again. We're betting 100. And we're still on level 1 here, row 1, which means we're looking for the chop. We're going to bet for the banker now. So we're going to bet banker for 100. Let's see if the chop continues. That's a tie, which is meaningless, so we're just going to repeat it and deal. And we win. So we're up 5 units now in a matter of 5 results. And this is our last and final bet for this trilogy of 3 bets. And this time we're going to be betting for a player. So far so good. The bet selection, there we go. We won another one. The bet selection is working. You guys haven't really seen the bet management yet, but you will. You will see it. We won't win every hand. I can guarantee you of that. So here we go. So now we're up 6 units and we start over again, right? We're back to our first bet again. The first bet is going to be 100. We're still on level 1 and we're going to bet for a banker. Right? Because we want to continue the chop because we're on level 1 or this first row. Okay, so we're going to bet for a banker. And I can guarantee you it's not going to win forever. There we go. We finally lost. Okay, so the first bet was 100. So now you're going to finally get to see what happens. So our next bet is going to be half of the first bet. So the next bet is going to be 50. So let's see what our bet selection tells us. So if you watch the video from yesterday, when we're on level 2, it's a no bet. We don't bet here. We don't bet when there's 2. So we're just going to deal. And it's a banker, which means we chopped right back up to level 1, which means we're looking for the chop, and now we're going to be betting a player. So now, based on our bet selection, we know that when we lose the first bet, we're going to bet half the amount for the next 2 bets. So this is going to be a $50 bet, okay? A $50 bet, and it's going to be on player. $50 bet on player. And we win. And we're going to bet another $50 on player. Not on player, I'm sorry. Another $50 on banker. We're still on level 1, on row 1. So we're betting 50 on banker because we want the chop to continue. Okay, so we're betting 50 on banker. All right, and we lost that one. Okay, no big deal. Doesn't matter one way or the other because now we're at the end of our 3-bet scenario, right? And we are up now, we're still up close to 5 units, right? We're still up close to 5 units. So now we start over again. So our start over bet is always our full base bet, which is the 100. Okay, that's our trigger that tells us what to do. So let's take a look at our bet selection first and see where we're at. We're on the second level again, which means we're not going to bet. It's a no bet. And we had a player win. Now we're on 3. So our bet selection from the last video tells us that at 3, we're going to be betting for the chop. So we're going to be betting that this stops there. And the reason for that is Most of the time, if you look at shoes, most of the rows only go down to 3. Of course, you have longer streaks, but the majority of them end here or before here. So we're gonna play for the chop now, and we're gonna bet on banker. We're gonna bet on banker. So this is our first bet again. So it's gonna be 100 on banker, and this will tell us what to do for the next 2 bets. Okay, we lost, which means that now we know that the next 2 bets are going to be half bets, right? They're going to be $50 bets. So the next bet is going to be 50. Where are we going to bet? Well, once we have 4 showing, we're switching to the same. So now we're going to be calling for the streak, and we're going to be betting for a player. So we're going to do a half bet on player. Whoops. Half bet on player. And it's a tie, so we're going to repeat it and deal. And we win. Okay. And our next bet is going to be our third bet, and that's going to be for 50 also. And once we get past here, we're always going to be betting for the streak to continue until we move to a different, back up to the top row. So we're betting again for another player. So we want this streak to go long. So we're going to be betting our third and final bet on player for 50. And we lose. Okay, no big deal. But do you see how easy this bet structure is? So now we're back at the top again. We're going to be betting our $100 bet again. Okay. And this time, it chopped back to row 1. We know with our bet selection, row 1 means we're looking for the chop, so we're going to be betting player for our full $100 bet, right? Player for 100. And we lose. So once again, we're going to be betting our half bets for the next 2, the 50 and the 50, right? So there we go. So we are not going to be betting because we're on the second row. Second row is a no bet in our bet selection. And it's a banker. So now there's 3 down. When we have 3 down, we're on row 3. We're betting for the chop, and we're going to be betting player. So we're going to be betting $50 on player. Half bet. And we win. Okay. So that means we're still on row 1. We're going to be betting for the chop to continue. We're going to bet banker. So our third and final bet is going to be on banker. All right, and we lost. So I hope you guys are seeing this is an ultra conservative approach. Okay, this is an ultra conservative approach. And you can see that we were up 5 units. Now, we're not up 5 units now. We're close to the 3 units. And we're not trying to get it all back. That's the total opposite. This is the anti-martingale. So when you have those wins in a row, you take your money and you finish the session. We're continuing on just to show you how to play it out. All right, but you're never in the hole very far, right? You're never in the hole very far. So when you get up, whatever the profit target is that you're setting, reasonable profit target, you quit. So let's do another one, just so you guys can get the hang of it. So we're back to our level 1 or tier 1 bet, which is the full base bet, whatever that is for you. Remember, you could be doing this with $10 bets, and the half bets are only 5. I'm just using the $100 bet for the demonstration. So now we're at the $100 bet, the full bet. We're on row 2. We do not bet. It's a tie. We repeat. We deal. And the banker wins. Okay, so we are back in a chop because we're on row 1. Row 1 means that we're betting for the chop. So now we're going to bet for the player. Okay, and it's the full $100 bet on player. And we'll do a few more of these just to make sure you guys get it. Okay, we lost our tier 1 bet, which once again means that we're going to be betting half a bet for the next 2 bets. Okay, and you can see how this cycles, right? We were up 5 units, now we're up about 2 units. So you have to get a feeling for this, and that'll tell you, kind of give you the vibe for when to quit. All right, so here we go. So this is a row 2 bet, right? We don't make a row 2 bet. All right, and a player won, right? Player won. So now we're back on row 1. We're looking for the chop. We're betting banker. All right. I don't think I made the $50 bet. If I did and I screwed up, I apologize, but I don't think I made the second bet. So this is going to be a $50 bet on player if I didn't screw it up. No, I didn't screw it up. I didn't screw it up. Okay, there we go. $50 on player. And we win. And the second and last, or the third bet in the cycle is the $50 bet once again, right? Third and final bet. Where are we? We're on the terrible twos. Oh, actually, how did that happen? How did we win there? I think I must have made a mistake there because, let me see. Yeah, that should have been a banker bet. I should have lost that bet, so that was a mistake. That should have been a banker bet. I must have made the player bet by accident. So let's just keep going along. So here we go. So it was in our favor. I guess we won anyway, so no problem. But here we go with our bet selection. We're on row 2. We do not make a bet. All right, so we got a player, right? Now we have 3. When we hit row 3, when we fill in row 3, we're always looking to chop back. So now we're going to bet for the chop. We're going to bet for a banker bet. So this is our third and final bet, and it's on banker. And we win. All right. So we're up about 3 units right now. We were up about 5 units at the height. So we'll do one more sequence of 3 just so you guys can understand what I'm doing. So where are we at here? Okay, we're back up at row 1. We're going to be playing for the chop on row 1, which means we're going to be betting on player. So this is our $100 bet, right? Our full base bet. And we're going to bet the $100. Let's make sure we don't screw this one up on player. Okay. And we won. Now, this is the first time we've won a first bet in a while. So what's going to happen here is this signifies to us that the next 2 bets are going to be at the base level, not the half level, right? Not the half level. So the next bet's going to be 100. And that's going to be for the chop because we're still on level 1. So we're going to be betting 100 on banker. And we lost. Okay, that's fine. And we're going to bet 100. Whoops, wrong place. Hold on one second, guys. Let me fix that. And we're going to be betting our third and final bet, the same level, at 100. And we have a terrible 2. We're on the second level. We don't bet that. We just take a free hand. Boom. Now we have 3. On level 3 or row 3, we're always betting back for the chops. We're going to bet on banker. So we're going to be betting 100 on banker. All right, and we lost. Okay. So that's the story. We still are up. You can see that we're up 2 units. We were up as high as 5 units. This is a great way of betting because it's very conservative and you're letting the table dictate what your second bets are. I've been able to take this in demo. I've been able to, just to see what happens, I've been able to easily take it up to 6 to 8 units and never go over betting that, that base bet and never going above it, just using this simple bet progression, right? So once again, whatever your base bet is, okay, that's what you're betting on the first tier. If you win, you continue for the next 2 bets betting that same base bet. If you lost your first tier bet, then you're going to bet half of that for the next 2. All right? And then start the cycle over again. It's that simple. I'm really liking this. I really, really am. It's a 3-bet progression, but it's very different than the 1-2-4 or 1-2-3 or flat betting 1-1-1. There's a lot of different things you can do. This is a very comfortable way to bet. And if you're using bigger denominations and you've built your bankroll up, you don't need to push the envelope. You really don't need to play any crazy martingales or anything else to make money. So this is an extremely comfortable money management. It's a little different than anything I've shown you guys before. And I hope you like it. In regards to the bet selection is fantastic. I showed this on the last video. So please go back and watch that new bet selection. I called it SOS, same, opposite, same. So go ahead and check that out. It's a little unusual. Most people do not look at the scoreboard. We don't normally look at the scoreboard like that. So once you get it, you get it. It's pretty easy. I want to tell everybody to have a happy Thanksgiving. Tomorrow in the United States, it's Thanksgiving. We are going to have something very special. It's probably going to be up tomorrow night or Friday morning. For all the people that have been watching our free videos here on YouTube, but have held back from joining our private membership to receive all the Casino Vault systems, the private systems, private methodology, and a lot of the other stuff that we're going to start rolling out and already started rolling out, you're going to want to be watching. So make sure that you have that little bell, click on the bell, make sure you get notifications of our new videos, because we're going to do something that's going to be a very limited offer for people that have been on the fence. So that's going to come either tomorrow night or Friday, but it's going to be extremely limited time frame. So make sure that you're watching videos coming forward, because this is going to be probably the only time we're ever going to do this. So make sure you're watching for a notification on the next video, which will probably be Friday morning or so. With that being said, lots of great stuff coming. We're getting into the holidays. We're going to be very, very busy after our trip to Las Vegas, showing you guys lots of roulette systems, lots of Baccarat systems. We're going to introduce more craps content as well. Craps is an amazing game. It's the first game that I ever fell in love with in the casino. And we're going to do more craps videos. And obviously, we're always going to show you guys different money management techniques. I can't show everything because a lot of that stuff I have to hold back for the private members. But I open the door just a little bit with videos like this to show you that you do not have to double up all the time. You do not have to use martingale. You do not have to Russian roulette your bankroll into oblivion. There are many ways to utilize your money and manipulate the math so that you can play with your bankroll and slowly build it up to the point where you're taking a $5 base bet and turning it into a $50 base bet or a $100 base bet using the casino's money. So with that being said, I hope you guys really liked seeing the bet selection once again. I'm sure if we would have continued to play the whole shoe, we probably could have easily run it back up to 5, 6, 7 units of profit. But I think you guys get the idea for the bet selection as well as the money management. And we'll leave it here. Test it out. Go to Wizard of Odds. Go play roulette using this. It's a great, great even money bet money management for roulette. So I have been using this to do even money bets on roulette, and I'm having great, great success with some of our private systems that we're giving bet selections for, and then trying this new money management using those bet selections. So more on that later. With that, we'll call it a day here. Everybody in the United States, have a great Thanksgiving. Hope you guys are with your family watching a whole day of football. I know I will be watching football tomorrow. And on Friday is the first Black Friday NFL game, and it has my Miami Dolphins. So you know I'm going to be on Amazon watching that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. So we will see you on the next one. Have a great time. Be safe in your travels, and we'll see you on the next video.